Busan? If I get your attention, please. Shipmates, family, friends. I know that we've mostly picked through the food, but please continue to eat and enjoy. At this moment, I would like to introduce my Admiral. She has a few words for everyone. So without further ado, Admiral.
What we wanted to do tonight is I was just going to make a few opening remarks, and then we'll turn it over to Captain Schroeder, Jim Schroeder over here, who's been coordinating our transformation and relocation, both the Busan piece and the Camp Humphreys piece. So I know that doesn't affect everyone, so we're going to do that at the end of my talking, so that way if you wanted to head out and get home, if you don't really want to learn about Busan, you can feel free to do that. So just a couple of resources that you might not be aware of. We have a YouTube channel. You may or may not know that. But we have our own CNFK YouTube channel that has videos on it. And the videos show life in Busan. So we had one of our sailors walk around with a GoPro camera on his head and show you what it's like in the apartments there. Show you what the beach is like. Show you what the markets are like. Show you what shopping is like. I might be missing one, but I think there's 6 individual videos now that you can watch on YouTube and see what they are. Oh, shopping. That was the other one. Yes. And we're putting together a lot more products. So the next thing that we're going to start working on is a PCS guide. So this will be some fundamental information that the families that will start PCSing in from the United States need to know as they start to get themselves set up and ready for their move in Busan. So some of you may have received a Sole Survivor before you came here, and it was probably pretty helpful in telling you what to bring or what not to bring. And the idea is that this book will just lay out some of those fundamental kind of top 10, I need to know these things so I can plan my move. So we'll be working on that, and then all of this is going to be done electronically. And we feel like that's the best way to do that, because then you can constantly be looking at it, and we can constantly update it as information changes. In February, we'll put out an expanded version of that, which will be called our Busan Survivor, kind of copying the Sole Survivor idea. But this is to get out the basic, more information than those kind of top 10 things you need to know before you move to Busan.
Good evening. I want to talk a little bit about Busan and our relocation, just sort of as a background. So for the staff that's going down to Busan, we will actually start having people PCS down there this spring. So our new gains will start reporting in there as we start rotating the staff. And so sometime February, early March, we'll start seeing people show up in Busan for the staff. I think the first one from up here that it's going to move down looks like it's going to be Lieutenant Green, based on the schedule from the 3 shop. And it looks like he's going to go in early April. And then I know all the staff has been working on their plans for how each individual code is going to go down so that we're in place and ready to start operating in Busan by 15 July. And so for the staff, it's really the front office staff, the 2, 3, 5, and 7 that will be down in Busan. The rest of the staff will be staying up here in Humphreys. As the Admiral said, not quite sure when we're going to get to Humphreys. Sometime late 2016, early 2017. Depends on how the construction of that base builds out and how they get power to our buildings. For those of you that may be around as we move to Camp Humphreys, a little bit different environment than here. So if you're unaccompanied here, you're probably out in town. If you're going to be unaccompanied down in Camp Humphreys, you're probably going to be on the base. And they've been building a lot of new TLQ facilities and upgrading those that are down there. So a little bit different environment down there than up here. And so still not quite sure when that's going to happen, but that's going to be, the staff that remains up here in Yongsan will be going down to Busan, or going down to Camp Humphreys at that point. Next slide. So Busan, I think most of us have been down there, but point out a couple spots for you. So this down here is where we're going to be headquartered, down on the Rock Navy base. Nice small base with our own building down there. So Busan Station is the train station, subway, bus station, so major transportation node within the city. Pier 8, MSC, that is an Army location, Army/Navy pier down there with facilities down there, and we'll talk about some of the facilities that they have to provide support. Various locations around town where potential you may be wanting to live, and sort of in the central area, down in the beach areas, and then the two schools were out, Busan Foreign School and Busan International Foreign School, up sort of on the upper right corner of the city. You know, if you've been down there, you'll notice a little bit more challenging to get around, but they have great transportation systems. It's just lots of traffic, and because it's built in a bunch of valleys, a little bit more congested as you move through the city. The actual move process, it's rock funded, but you all aren't going to know this difference. You're going to go down to the place where you would normally PCS out of country, go through the process, and get set up with household goods shipping. You'll go into Dragon Hill on TLA. As you're closing out, you'll go into quarters down there and under TLA until you actually move in. The only difference is actually who's paying for it. So it's essentially the same process as if we were going to pay for the PCS, but the Rocks are paying for it.
Good evening, Captain. PSC Proctor, working with PSD. So I'm going to be heavily involved in this whole process. So since it's Rock funded, my question is regarding the realignment of personnel. When is that going to take place regarding when you get notification from PERS? Because the person you have at CNFK have to be shifted to the new UIC, and then when is funding going to be made available so then I can write the orders and insert. And if it's Rock funded, is that Rock funding going to be converted over to Navy funding so I can write the order? So that's the major question.
Okay, so the first part is we expect money about the 1st of February. The Rocks are going to give it to the Army. Army will put it through a variety of different parts of their Army financial system. They'll give us a line of accounting that you will be able to use to write the orders. 1st of February is about the time that we expect the billets to transfer through the process and get realigned to Busan. And so that's what our OCR says, that OpNav approved. Our billet change requests are being processed by PacFleet to make that happen. We've been talking with PERS. From our for the most part, it should be fairly seamless for us to work it. And so about the 1st of February is when we think that's going to happen. Everybody's going to be living in off-base housing. So you'll get leasing support from CFAC to help you find a place to live out there. They are supposed to be adding another housing assistant so that they have additional capacity to support our move and to be able to provide that leasing support up in Busan. But they've been leasing houses for the Navy in Busan for quite a while now, and so they've got a pretty good experience being able to do that, both for junior enlisted all the way up to senior officers. So they're very confident that they're going to be able to support you and find you something that you're going to want to stay in and live in.
Sir, for the personnel that's moving down to Busan and Chinhae, especially Busan with the off-base housing, are we going to have any kind of time or billeting on base while we look for off-base housing?
So you'll be, essentially you're going to get, just like you move in here, you'll be on TLA when you out process. You'll be on TLA when you're down there looking for a place. Probably a lot of you may go down, go find a place early, but once you actually move down there, there's a period of time you can be on TLA.
Yeah, the only difference is the TLA down there you have to pay out of pocket, so like every 10 days you have to do a TLA claim and submit it to my office for processing. So that's just the only difference. And here, the TLA is billed to my office and I pay the TLA for naval personnel, but in Busan you have to pay out of pocket and seek reimbursement. That's the only difference.
I would just say that we're also the first command to move as part of the Yongsan relocation program. So it's just important that we take advantage of of all these opportunities. I mean, the reason you have TLA is so you can have time to move out of your place. You can, you can have time to find a new one. And so these are just important things that we want to make sure that you're aware of. That you should not be in any way, shortchanged because we're moving just from one place to another. This is the actual relocation, just like you were moving from Washington D.C. to Seattle. It's the same concept, and you have all the same rights and things that are available to you when you're doing this.
As the Admiral mentioned, there's 2 international K-12 schools available. DODEA will fund them. American versus International curriculum. So please take a look at the schools, figure out which one makes sense for you. And we've got the websites available on our portal. They're in our information packets as well.
I think also the schools gave us some information pamphlets that Lieutenant Abrahamson has, if you want to look at those. And also all the pictures that he took are posted on that YouTube, or I think actually on the Flickr site. But you can get to them if you want to just check it out. One's a big school, one's a smaller school. There's a lot of, everything's relative. Yeah. But anyway, there'll be some unique things about each one that you really want to get a sense of. And I would strongly recommend that you talk to the principals. They're very nice people, and they really are enthusiastic about any American students that are coming in.
Can I add something to this?
Sure.
I'm ET1 boy. I'm the married guy down in Busan. Because there's no DOD, actual DOD school in Busan, DOD will also pay for, if you choose to do homeschooling, they will also pay for your curriculum if you choose to go that route. So that's an option also.
Thanks.
Transportation to go to school will be provided by the school we choose, or it's a military?
So both schools do have a bus option. There's a price for that.
No, DODEA pays that.
Oh, DODEA will?
It's for BFS, everything is covered either through DODEA or through BFS. BIFS, there may be some funds that are not covered, such as uniforms and laptops.
No, they're covering.
Did they cover it?
Both schools are going to match what the other schools
Oh,
do.
okay. So everything
But
is
this
covered.
is covering laptops and uniforms.
No, it was just for the transportation.
Transportation is covered through DODEA. The DODEA covers that.
Yeah.
As long as you live within the transportation area.
Sir, I have a question for you. For the areas that were marked on the previous slide, does those
Can you go back?
provide buses for the schools? Or it just depends on where you live?
So the one thing I think I may only be able to talk about BIFs, but they run buses 2 hours away to Koji Island, where our orphanage is. So they have a really robust system, and I'm everywhere that you would want to live in Busan Foreign School would also have a bus there.
Go back.
I think the other, just a few other quick things. So where the base is, that's one area to live.
Can you go back?
That in the middle
Match the map.
of the blob, down there where the base is. But a lot of the expat community, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of them live over by where the schools are, more in that BFS area. That's over by Hyundai Beach. And that bridge right there, that Guangzhou Bridge, I think it's called.
Guangzhou.
Yeah. That's 1,000 won each way, and that's a good way to cut out some of the traffic. Is that right?
Yes.
It's right, ma'am, but depending on the traffic.
Depending on the traffic.
If I may, sir?
Sure.
I'll show one thing.
Okay.
I'm Senior Chief Collins. We both work for Military SEAL Command, as the Admiral said. Ma'am, thanks for having us up. Command
thanks
Master
for
Chief,
coming.
sir. This bridge is about $1. It's about, we don't even think about the exchange rate down there, really. Don't even go into that. I didn't even bring I forgot to bring American cash with me. We don't even think about that. But it's about $1 each way. Some of us have a little thing you can get to put on your car that just beep, 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 and then you just right, easy pass, whatever it's called, high pass, and you can get it recharged. But from here to Pier 8, you go across through Bomodong, across the Guang Bridge, and to Marine City, around to Marine City, where a lot of people live, is exactly 7 miles. So that gives you a
Right, well, it can take an hour and a half, yes. It can take anywhere from 15 minutes to, but that gives you kind of a picture of what you're looking at here, how big that is. And just this area right here, just that tiny little area where Marine City is probably, what, 50,000 people?
Oh, it's all tall apartment buildings, but that's where all your foreigners are, or a lot of your foreigners are. That's where you're going to see the only English signs in Busan is there. You're not going to have like right outside base here where you have streets where every sign is in English.
So TRICARE Prime remote is in place down there for I think now 5 hospitals that are under TRICARE down there, as well as some dental facilities on the base for some fitness facilities. Overall, the city's got great, inexpensive public transportation systems, so it's fairly easy to get around. Down at Pier 8, where MSC is, gas is available at DLA prices, and you can money order in packages, and that's where our mail service will come through as well. In terms of area support, we're going to get support both from CFAC and from Daegu. So CFAC, the commissary, PX, Navy College, PSD is going to be down there. It's going to be the only PSD supporting all of the Navy on Korea. And they'll be doing ID cards and D-bids down there to support us. Immunizations, MWR and ITT capabilities. In Daegu, again, commissary and PX. Navy Federal, some other options down in the Daegu area. Daegu's about 2 hours, depending on traffic. CFAC, done in it's about 45 minutes, and it's been an hour and a half, so all depends on traffic. So a couple of places that we're going to be using to support us once we're down in the Busan area. And so questions as we're getting ready to go down for Busan?
I have one question, sir.
Sure.
Will our families be able to access the ROC base?
We should be able to get them on the base. There's some limited facilities on there.
The base where our base is what you mean. Can they
Right.
come to work?
They can come on the base. Probably aren't going to get, I think the first deck of our building probably they can get in, but that'll be about it.
Okay, so there will be no issue as far as like just coming through the main gate. Will they get a card?
We're going to get something so the families down there can get on base now.
I do have a question. So you said vehicles. So those people that have vehicles registered up here, do they have to turn their tags, or will they be able to, like when they leave, you need to ship them out of Korea down there? So they have to come all the way back here to Seoul and turn tickets in. That's my only question.
Should be able to turn, if you're talking about the license plates?
Yeah.
For well,
Yeah.
for overall registration, yeah. So the Daegu PMO and the registration, vehicle registration, where you guys usually...
We have all that here at BSC.
BSC, yeah. So we're working on that with PMO. We'll get you some more answers on that. But the seamless for Camp Ken, you do the e-registration here, you re-register down there. Because, every area 4 is a little bit different for car registration. But we'll make that as seamless as possible for you. So I'm talking to the MPs about that as well.
Appreciate it.
Yep.